Finally, we've done a good day's work, and it is only 10:30. You know what? I think we deserve a reward. Mom!
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. What'd you say?
It's a beautiful day out, and I have a sitter until 5 o'clock. So I think we should drive up to the country inn, have an early lunch, and then come back here and use the afternoon to shop for our dresses.
Oh, Lori, it sounds like fun, but I just don't feel up to it today.
You're not feeling all right.
It's just the excitement and the planning. Bride's jitters, I guess.
But I thought it was the groom who was supposed to get the jitters.
Well, I'm afraid that my groom is too involved with other things to have time for that.
Mom, have you and Dave had a fight?
No, we haven't fought.
Well, something's wrong. Now, I can tell. Tell me what it is.
Well, what is all of that?
Dinner.
What?
If I don't feed this monster regularly, I don't know what it'll do.
Oh, more information for the Chesterfield relocation project.
I tell you, it just loves the stuff, gobbles it up like it was candy.
Well, you must be getting along better with it now.
Truth be known, to tell you the truth, I'm still terrified of it.
Oh, Ellen, computers don't bite.
Listen, let me tell you something. Every night I've had a recurring dream since this monster got here. I dreamed that I pushed the wrong button and erased everything that was ever on there. Names, addresses, all of it gone.
Oh, come on, you know that's not going to happen.
And you know why? Because every time I make a teeny-weensy entry into that thing, I record the same data in a notebook and lock it up in my desk.
Smart lady. Dave. Harold, come on in.
Oh, I can do all this later. Excuse me.
Sure.
Well, I'm surprised to see you here this morning.
Well, I brought something for you.
Oh, what's this?
It's your campaign schedule for the next few months. Now, I've left out time for your honeymoon, but I had to reduce it to 8 days from 11 because we got a lot to do and there's not much time.
Slow down, slow down. Nobody schedules my time for me unless he's my campaign manager. Does this mean you've accepted the job?
I still don't think you can win. I just didn't have the heart to say no.
Well, thanks a heck of a lot, but welcome aboard. Now, let's see what we got here. Lions Club meeting, WRD radio station, town forum, press club awards banquet, TV open interview. It's quite a schedule here. Now, what's this?
That's Terry's schedule, appearances she's going to have to make. Mostly she'll be right along with you, but there's a couple of women's clubs and things I think she ought to handle.
Hey,
on her
whoa,
own.
wait a minute, slow down. I think we've got a little problem here.
Well, why could we have a problem? Oh, Dave, you're not telling me that Terry's not going to campaign with you? You're not telling me that, are you, Dave?
Yeah, I know that, but Walter, I'm telling you, the guy has made an about-face change.
I mean, he says he thinks there's something fishy about this, that there might be a connection between Domi and the Bedford Institute.
Yes, to the point of making himself available to the Chronicle as an inside source, with the idea of working hand-in-hand with us.
Huh. Gene, has it ever occurred to you that he might be talking out of both sides of his mouth? Yeah, I mean, some sort of double agent for Domi or
Now,
something.
wait a minute. Ben Martin happens to be a personal friend of mine, Walter.
Well, I understand he also happens to be a personal friend of Vanessa Fazan, too.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she has him on her side.
You didn't tell him about Stacy, did you? Any chance how we're having her infiltrate the organization?
No, of course not.
No, good. That's playing it smart. I think we ought to continue to do so, too. I don't want anybody to know about what she's doing, including Ben Martin.
But, Walter, I think Ben Martin will be an invaluable help to us.
You certainly have changed your tune about him.
That's because he's changed his tune. You should have heard him last night, the way he was talking. I'm sure the guy was sincere. And I just think that maybe we should really let Ben in on Stacy's ploy.
No way.
But why not?
Look, Gene, I cannot run this newspaper on your feeling. And the Bottom line is that I don't want to take any chance, any risk at all of blowing her cover on this, no matter how sincere your fair weather friend seems.
Wait a minute now, Ben. He is not a fair weather friend, Walter.
I'm sorry. End of discussion. Just tell him thanks, but he's too late. We're off the story.
All right. You're the boss.
And as such, I have a new assignment for you. At 11 o'clock this morning, there's going to be a meeting of the Commonwealth Trans-Express Relocation Board. And I want you to cover it.
Now, what's so special about that, if you don't mind my asking?
It just happens that both Dave Phillips and Lee Carruthers sit on that board.
Lee Carruthers and Dave Phillips on the same board. Boy, that could be fireworks. Where did you get a red-hot tip like that?
I tipped the press off about that meeting because I knew what was going to happen. See, I knew that Phillips would try to horn in on your publicity about the relocation project.
You should have checked it out with me.
Why? That's what you hired me for, Lee, to look out for your best interest, huh?
I had a meeting last night with Preston Carpenter. Now, he specifically warned me that CTE and the relocation committee were not to be used for political infighting and grandstanding.
Yeah, but I think you're forgetting that it's Dan Myers, not Preston Carpenter, who's looking out for your political well-being.
Carpenter has enough clout to make or break this campaign for me.
Look, Lee, believe me, it doesn't matter what happens at that meeting. CTE will survive, and so will your relationship with Preston.
Well, you better hope so, but next time, Dan, you check it out with me before you pull a stunt like this.
Hey, now look, I saw a good PR opening and I jumped on it. Now don't fault me for that. This is the perfect stage for you to put on a good show right to the public.
A good show.
Sure. Of your supposed concern that Dave Phillips is running against you. You know, now you have to be subtle about this. But I think if you can show that you're worried, you know, about all his good work in the Chesterfield area and all the good deeds he's doing in the inner city being a threat to you politically, then that's going to be just the boost that we need. Now, I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. You lament that Dave Phillips is running against you, but you humbly promise not to allow either of your candidacies to thwart the greedy interests of your constituency.
And with his record, the support will go to him.
Sure, and the working man's vote. And that's a swing of the axe right down the middle of Wainwright's support in the inner city. And that's what we're after here, after all. Huh?
I guess you're right there. I guess I do see the wisdom behind it, but
And look, if Preston Carpenter doesn't like it, you've handled him before, haven't you?
Oh, that reminds me. I'd better get over there. Besides everything else, I don't want to be late for this meeting. I'll walk over there. You see somebody you know?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. It's a friend of Courtney's, or I should say an ex-friend of Courtney. Look, you go on ahead. I'll see you later. I've got to talk to this guy.
Well, come on, Dave. Tell me, is Terry going to be campaigning with you or what?
Well, she said that she would stand by my side, but...
But what? Dave, what is the problem?
Well, standing by my side and actively campaigning for me are two different things.
Dave, I think maybe we better talk about this. I got to tell you just exactly why I decided to sign on for this campaign in the first place.
Well, go on.
Well, I did a lot of research after we talked, and I called some friends of mine who have their fingers on the pulse of what's going on in the community politically. Some lawyer friends of mine who served politically before. And what I found out was that your basis for support is pretty wide. Wider than I thought. Maybe even wider than you had any idea of.
Well, I suppose I have Kate to thank for all that.
Yeah, it's true. Her respect and support did transfer to you. At least in the political community. It's kind of a backlash, I guess, against Carruthers because Sebastian Knight killed Kate, but it's something to build up from. But, well, there's a negative aspect of Kate's murder in your trial.
Yes, but that's all over now.
I think I'm going to level with you, Dave. There are people who are asking certain questions. Questions like, is Dave Phillips really over Kate's death? Is he able now? Is he stable enough to take on this kind of responsibility? Look, Dave, my point is this. This is going to be your first, maybe your biggest hurdle to get over with the public, trying to convince them that you have, in fact, been able to get over the ordeal that you've gone through. That you've not only gotten over Kate's death, but that you've been able to pick yourself up and move yourself forward. That your life has indeed moved right along.
Yes, but my life's never been better than it is
That's
now.
just exactly my point. That's why I think Terry should be out there with you, on the stump, campaigning, standing beside you, holding your hand, letting everybody know that you are an overcomer.
I don't know, she's never been involved in anything like this before.
Well, I wouldn't worry about her. She's got what it takes. She's got class, style, she's smart, she's got charisma. Now, she'll come through when the chips are down. Now, you two go on out there and get married, have your honeymoon, rest up on your honeymoon, and when you get back here, you get ready for the busiest 2 months of your lives, okay? We got a deal?
I don't know. I'll see that she gets this, Harold, but I can't make any promises.
It's just that things aren't working out the way I expected they would. With Dave campaigning, I dreamed of a small, quiet church wedding with lots of time for planning it together. Now it's going to have to be squeezed in between meetings, I suppose.
Mom, you're marrying the man, not the job. Now, how many times have you told me that about Ben?
I know. And I just keep telling myself that it shouldn't make any difference, but I have such a nervous fear that the wedding is just going to be the beginning of it.
The beginning of what?
Of things that we're going to have to give up. Of dreams that we're going to have to sacrifice. His work in the clinic. It's going to have to go. Certainly it is. My work in the hospital, the Rape Crisis Center. There are just so many things that are important in my life, Lori, that I feel are going to be put in jeopardy, or at least be put in second place because of Dave's political aspirations.
Mom, I think you're just looking for problems.
No, Lori, there are going to be problems because of this. Now, I can't look into the future and see what they're going to be, but I'm not so naive as to think that this isn't going to make a tremendous difference in our lives, in mine as well as in Dave's.
Look, with all your work at the hospital and the Rape Crisis Center, you are not even going to have any time to get involved with this whole political scene. You know what you're suffering from? Fear of the unknown. You've never been married to a politician before, so you're assuming the worst. And hey, it couldn't be as bad as you're imagining now, could it? After all, there wouldn't be so many politicians running for office. Their wives would not allow it.
I'm sure you people all know Preston Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter is chairman of the board of Commonwealth.
Yes, this is an open meeting, right, Mr. Carpenter? I mean, you have no objections to press coverage?
No, absolutely not at all. I'm pleased that so many of you are interested. Commonwealth Trans Express is involved in a major construction project in the Chesterfield area of Kingsley, which will necessitate relocating some 60 families. And this committee was formed to help those families relocate and find jobs. An excellent example of business and government working together. All the members of the committee, Mayor Kincaid, Dr. Phillips, Congressman Carruthers, and Mr. Prescott have all given very generously of their time to make this project work.
Oh, Congressman Carruthers, say, how do you feel about working on the same committee with someone who's planning to run against you in the election?
Oh, no problem, gentlemen, no problem. Are you implying that you don't take Dr. Phillips' candidacy seriously? No, I don't mean to imply that at all. In fact, I have a great deal of respect for Dr. Phillips, both as a physician and as a man. Although I lament the loss of his services for the people of the city, I certainly take his candidacy very seriously indeed.
But you have no feelings one way or the other about working with him on the committee.
Well, because I believe that having worked in the area for some time, he has a great deal to offer this committee. The purpose of which is to benefit the entire community, as Mr. Carpenter pointed out.
Yeah, thank you, Congressman. Now, I think
If I may, there is one other thing I'd like to mention to you all.
Sure, go right ahead. Any statement you want to make.
And that is that I and I alone have been the life force behind this committee. I personally researched Mr. Carpenter's plans, and I found them sound and well-intentioned. And I seized the opportunity to be of help to my own constituency. But I did it purely and simply for the good of the Chesterfield area.
Look, Norris, I'm only telling you this as a favor to you. Do you know what Preston Carpenter does for a living?
Yeah, he's in shipping.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, but his reputation is... Well, all right, let me put it to you this way. If he doesn't like the way you part your hair, say, his men will come around and fit you for 2 cement boots, 1 for each foot.
His men? Trying to tell me he's in the mob?
Shh, would you, for crying out loud. You don't know who's listening around here. We just...
You're putting me on. I don't believe you.
Okay, well, nobody said you had to. But, I mean, look, think about it like this. I mean, what is Courtney, who's all of 19? What is she doing with this beautiful apartment here in this little middle American town when Preston's back up there in Chicago? Huh?
You mean he's hiding her out here?
Oh, come on, let's face it. A man in his position has enemies, big enemies, and his daughter is a prime target. I mean, you know how those people are about their families.
Yeah, I've read about that.
Yeah.
Pretty close, aren't they?
Oh, look, the only life he cares about other than his own is Courtney's. Anybody lays a finger on her...
Wow. If I'd known that, Listen, I sure appreciate you setting me straight.
Oh, look, no problem. Hey, look, I'd want somebody to do the same for me, right?
Hey, one more thing. You being a family lawyer and all, I guess you see Mr. Carpenter from time to time.
Oh, sure, yeah. Occasionally.
Well, the next time you see him, tell him I've left town and I won't be around and bother his daughter anymore. Will you do that for me?
I'll take care of it for you. Don't worry about it. My pleasure.
Dave asked me to drop this off to you on my way home.
From Dave?
Yes, and you're to open it right away.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, by the way, Terry, have you seen or heard anything from Nancy?
Not a word. You don't know where she's staying either?
Well, it's just almost as if she dropped off the face of the earth, and I'm so worried.
Well, I know you are. So am I. I called the Greenbrier and left messages.
I did, too. Well, if you see or hear anything from her, let me know, would you?
I will. You'll be the first to know. Thanks, Ione. See you
Okay,
later.
bye, dear.
Bye-bye.
Mom? Was that Ione's voice I heard?
Yeah, she couldn't stay. She wanted to drop this off. Dave wanted me to get this. Don't worry. We'll talk. Now, what does that mean?
Well, what is it?
Well, I don't know. Some sort of schedule, it looks like. Oh, here. Itinerary for Terry Phillips. Events breakdown through mid-September.
What? Let me see this. Special guest, Association of Business and Professional Women's Lunch in Kingsley Hotel. Speaker for inauguration of Daycare Learning Center. Principal speaker, Kappa Phi Delta Benefit Dinner.
Oh, Lori.
Oh, so much for my 2 cents worth of advice.
I don't understand this. I thought I made my position on this very clear.
Hey, at least they gave you plenty of time to get married and go on a honeymoon. I mean, 8 whole days. That's not bad.
Oh, yeah. Dave promised me that it would come off on schedule. And it will, right on schedule. We'll be married at such and such a time, right on the dot, and then I will be whisked away for 8 days, which will be more of an enforced rest than a honeymoon. And then I will come back to... Lori, what am I going to do?
Mom, don't worry. You'll talk. Dave and you will talk. We'll work something out.
How do you feel about Congressman Carruthers taking full credit for the Chesterfield relocation project? Any comment on that?
Well, my only purpose in being here is to actually help with the relocation procedures. I mean, I was asked to join the committee because I know the Chesterfield families who are involved in the project. And of course, we're using the clinic as a relocation center.
Are you saying then that you have no objection to the congressman taking the credit for this project?
Well, if it's important to him, he's welcome to it. After all, he is the incumbent congressman, and I'm merely a candidate.
But working on the same committee, Doctor, aren't you in effect saying that there are no differences between the two of you politically?
Well, if there weren't any differences, there wouldn't be any point in my running against him, now would there? Now, on the other hand, there are issues, on which I'm sure that we're in complete agreement.
Could you be a little more specific? What issues?
Well, the issues that this committee is addressing here today, namely the value of constructive employment, the right of a man and his family to have good housing, the redevelopment of a rundown area. In other words, we're here not to argue, but to try to help the people of Chesterfield. Quite frankly, if we stress the issues on which we agree rather than those on which we differ, well, I think the people might have a little more confidence in our government altogether. Now, if you'll excuse us.
Yes, we've really got to get this meeting underway. I'm going to have to ask the press to leave now. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you all for stopping by.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye. Have a nice day. All right, now that we're alone, let's get this meeting started. I have a few things to discuss. I'd like to start with you, Congressman. You were specifically asked not to use this committee as a platform for political infighting, and I resent your doing so.
Come on, Preston. I can't help it if my position attracts media coverage. That's one of the reasons you wanted me around in the first place, remember?
Campaigning under the banner of this committee was not part of that bargain.
CTE came off smelling like a rose. Both candidates praised you, your work, this committee. What more do you want?
I'm not upset about the publicity. I object to the bold-faced lie. You're taking all the credit for this project. Introducing partisan politics into this committee can only be divisive. All it'll do is serve to upset the people of Chesterfield that are being moved.
Look, Preston, all those people want is a handout, a well-paying job, free kitty care, and whatever else they can get. And believe me, they will get what they were promised. But as for divisiveness, well, I certainly didn't detect any. Did you?
Oh, it seemed to go well, Preston.
See? Oh, and Dave, for a beginner, I think you handled it very, very well.
Thank you. Now, could we get on with this meeting?
Yes. I think that's a very good idea.
At the very least, you're going to make the political scene around Kingsley a lot more interesting in the next few months, Dave, and more power to you.